Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily and today we're going to put on a full face of makeup that I completely forget to use or even forget I own sometimes, to be honest with you. And it's not necessarily because they are bad products, it's just for different reasons for each product, so we will talk about that as we go along. Hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. If it does, go ahead and do the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. Zoomed all in. Did I just change my top quickly? Yes, because I realized how hot I was and I was like, I cannot film feeling this hot. Could I have refilmed the intro? Yes. Am I lazy? Yes. Here we are. Lip balm first. I literally always forget that I own this Make Beauty Magnetic Mauve lip balm because I just don't super love it, if I'm honest with you. I don't mind the color, like I don't mind a mauve lip, but I just find that it doesn't really last long on the lips at all. And then as soon as it's kind of gone off, like that top layer is gone off, it's no longer hydrating on the lips. Like there's no longevity to the hydration. So I just am constantly having to reapply it to get hydration to my lips. And I just don't have time for that, let me tell you. An eye primer that I consistently forget to use is the Viseart primer. Now I love this primer. I think this is a really good primer. I just don't like the tube. Okay, I'm just lazy and I don't like that I have to put it on my finger and tap it out. If this had a doe foot applicator like the Rare Beauty or the Pat McGrath Labs, I would use this non-stop because it's just like those primers, but in a squeezy tube. And I don't like to have to use my fingers if I can help it. It's probably just a me thing. I get weird about it, but it deters me and I just kind of like, it's just like I don't even see it when I go to pick an eye primer. It's just like I'm blind to it because I know I have to use like my fingers for it. I'm very precious. Eyeshadow palette has got to be Vieve Muse. So it's not that I dislike this palette, but I don't love the matte, I love the mattes in here, I should say. The mattes are extremely high quality. I really dislike, well, not dislike, that's a strong word. I'm just not fazed with this metallic formula. Now I know a lot of you guys love the metallic formula from Vieve because it is more of like a satin, soft metallic formula, and so if you have textured lids or like a more mature lid, then the metallic can look really lovely on your eye. But for me, I like something a little bit more wham bam, as you know, and so it's just really doesn't faze me whatsoever. And then even though I love the mattes, they're just a little bit on that pinky rosy tone for the everyday that I just don't even really think to reach for it. And like, yes, I have an excessive amount of eyeshadow palettes. I love eyeshadow palettes. I have 2 drawers full, not even kidding. But when I look at my 2 drawers of eyeshadow palettes, like I know every palette that's in there and I see it, and every day I have this like internal struggle around like which one I want to use because I want to use them all because I love them all. But I have to admit, my brain and my eyes don't even see this palette. Like it just doesn't seem to exist in my collection to me. So I thought we would bring it out and play with it. So the first brush I'm going to pick up is my Lethal Cosmetics, and we'll go into Peony here. I'll just run that lightly through the crease just to kind of set the primer a teensy bit. And then I'm just going to take the same brush and go into Bow here, which is like, it's definitely a neutral, but it's more of like a mauvey leaning neutral, but it is very pretty. And like I said, the mattes in this palette, they're a lovely, lovely matte formula. They really are. Like Jamie Genevieve has nailed this matte formula, and the metallics are fine. They're just not memorable in my eyes. I picked up the 90s palette because you would have thought that that palette just would have called my soul, and it did when I see the pictures of it. But I actually did not find the quality of that palette to be the same as this one. I actually sold that palette in the end because I used it once and knew I wasn't going to use it again because I didn't like the metallics and I didn't like the mattes in that one. So I guess I can only speak to liking the mattes formula from this one because I don't have the original. I have found Vieve's products so far, I will admit, quite hit and miss. There's some that I'm like rave worthy about, and then there's others that I'm just like, oh, this is such an easy skip, or that I'm like, this is not good at all. So it's been an interesting brand to try from, and it's not a cheap brand, so you know, tread carefully. At least that's my opinion. Don't come for me if you're a Jamie stan, okay? It's just my opinion. I'm actually just going to switch to a R104 with that same shade. I just want to build it up a little bit more. Just need something slightly denser to just kind of deepen this up a smidge and tap it on the outer corner here. I'm going to take one of my new favourite brushes, the Chikuhodo GSN 10, and I'm going to go into Velvet here, just a small amount, not too much. And just start deepening this outer corner and crease up a smidge. The usual swirl of emotions, swirling and squiggling. So we're going to leave this here for now, and I'm going to pick up this flat Viseart brush. It doesn't have like a name or anything on it, but it's a like flat shader brush here, and I think it'll be good for what I'm going to use. So I'm actually going to take the Mcgrath Labs, what is this called? Fetisheyes, Cream Fetisheyes thingy in Platinum Dusk, because I also forget that I own cream shadows a lot of the time, if I'm honest, especially these Mcgrath Labs ones. For some reason they get buried under my Lisa ones, and then I just stop seeing them, and because I don't like the metallics in the Vieve, I thought it would be a good idea. Two birds, one stone, you know. If I go towards my cream eyeshadows, I usually go towards my Victoria Beckham or my Lisa Eldridge ones or my Alice Fast ones. So these ones really, this Mcgrath Labs one gets lost in the mix. Not that it's a bad product at all, it's actually quite lovely. I don't know, it's like one of those like blindness things, right? This Viseart brush is like absolutely perfect for applying cream eyeshadow. Absolutely perfect. Just to go a little step further, I'm also going to take this shadow from the Orange Blossom Kaja bento box stack, because I love this little trio, but again, because it sits with my cream eyeshadows, I just kind of forget about it, and I'm just going to tap this over the top to kind of set that a little bit and just add in a little bit of a rosy tone, or a warmish tone, and I'm just going to honestly just see how this looks, because why not? And the Kaja bento boxes, you guys, I cannot recommend them enough. I think they are actually one of the best products. Like, they are stunning, especially for the price point, and I just honestly forget to look in that drawer because I get so sidetracked by all my eyeshadow palettes. And no, the solution is not less makeup, okay guys? That's not the solution. The limit does not exist for me, all right? Leave me alone, let me live my life. There's a judgment-free zone. I actually think those like layered over the top look really pretty, and it just gives that pat liquid shadow a little bit of extra oomph that I am personally looking for in a shadow, you know? All right, we're gonna dip back into Velvet with that Chikuhodo brush. I'm just gonna marry these. Let's leave this here now and move on to our face. A primer that I just instantly kind of glaze over when I look at my primer collection, because the way that I have my makeup set up, just FYI, I have every single product laid out to a point where you can see them all, because if I can't see you, I'm definitely going to forget you. So every product is in a position where I can see it. So if I'm not using it or I'm forgetting I existed, it's literally just my mind is just like glazing over it as I look at it for one reason or another. Anyway, this primer is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer, and I'm going to apply this with the Hourglass foundation brush that came out with this collection. Everyone raved about this primer so much to the point where I got FOMO and was like, all right, I gotta try it. I gotta try this product. And I tried it and I was like, I don't get the hype. And I know so many of you guys, and like, again, this is just my opinion, like two things can be true at once. I cannot love something and you can love it. Like, skin is going to react differently, preferences are different between us all, you know, that kind of a jazz. So just that little disclaimer that, you know, two things can be true at once. I'm not coming for you, I promise. But this primer just doesn't do for me what it does for like so many of you and like others on YouTube that they just absolutely rave about. For me, it just dries my skin out and that's kind of it. Color corrector next. I always forget I own this Clinique Even Better All Over Primer and Color Corrector in the shade Peach. This was actually a buy from Simply Blair. I got this last year when I went to America to get married, and I saw this and I knew Blair loved it. And we weren't even friends then, so that's how long I have been buying her recommendations. And I just kind of forget that I own this because it's just a little bit too deep. If this was like a shade lighter, it would honestly be absolutely perfect. and I really, really like the formula of it. But just compared to the Natasha Denona and the Sigma one and the Bobbi Brown one that I have and stuff, it's just not as good on the under eyes. It doesn't do as good of a job of what I'm looking for the under eye correcting. So I love the formula, just not the shade. And that's why I kind of, again, just glaze over it. Now, you know the primer that I glaze over and forget. Maybe you can guess the foundation. The Hourglass Ambient foundation. Again, another one that was just like almost foundation of the year. Was it last year? I got FOMO and I was like, all right, I got to try it. I just got to try it. And it's too matte for me. It's just too matte for me. And that's saying something because I have combination skin. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pump it out. Now I have the shade, I have no idea. It doesn't say. What is my shade? I don't know the shade. It just says Ambient on the bottom. Anyway, I'm going to pump it out. And then I'm also going to take some of my Victoria Beckham Original Augustinus Beta moisturizer and I'm going to mix them together, because otherwise it's just too matte and I'm gonna hate my makeup, and that's not the purpose of this exercise. So, but that is why I kind of always glaze over it. Now I like the coverage and everything, and the shade's pretty good. It might look a little light, but at the end when I've put all my makeup on, it really comes together. Although it probably will look too light today actually as I say that, because I've got a tan at the moment. But yeah, so I like the coverage level. I just don't like how drying it is on my skin. But I do find like when I mix it with the Victoria Beckham moisturizer primer, like it looks really good and it works lovely. So I just need to remember to do that more really. Concealers. Two that I constantly just glaze over for some reason. This Lancôme Teint Idôle Ultra Red actually used to be one of my all-time favorites, and then I've just since discovered like so many other ones that are far superior in my mind, so I just kind of forget this exists in my collection. And then this Dior Backstage one, and this one I actually really, really like. This was another one I got because of Simply Blair, but it's just way too light of a shade for me, and so that's why I just like always skip over it. So I feel like if I mix these, they'll go well. So I have 250 in the Lancôme, and with the Lancôme I just don't find this to have anywhere near enough coverage for what I'm looking for in a concealer, and that's why I kind of just skip over it now, because I have like my Urban Decay and my Huda and stuff that you know I love. And then this is the Dior, which is very like, the shade range with Dior concealers sucks. They're either way too light or way too deep. I always have to get like 2 concealers to make the right shade, and I didn't want to do that with this concealer when I first got it because I didn't know if I would like it, but I don't mind it. Maybe I will pick up another shade eventually if I cross paths with it. BK 109, and I'm gonna tap these concealers out. I will say, these two concealers look pretty good together. Not bad. Cream bronzer slash contour, because this is really a contour that I always forget about, is the Danessa Myricks Vision Flush in Nutcracker. And it's because it reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless wand in the formula. It's my Sonia G buffer brush, and it lifts the product up on your face. Now I haven't tried this product with, I just put way too much on it here, don't worry, it'll work out. I haven't tried this product with this brush, so let's see how it goes. I'm just gonna blend this down my neck actually. I will do it, oh, gosh, I just look so textured through here and haggard and like dry. It's bizarre. Don't love this foundation. Especially the foundation combined with the primer all in one go. I wouldn't normally use the 2 Hourglass products like that together. I would use a much more like hydrating base. So the Sonia G buffer brush works a miracle because it has not lifted the product like what it used to do. And I do find, honestly, I don't know what it is about this brush, but like it blends cream bronzer and contour like a freaking dream. And then if you've gone too overboard like I have, just grab your sponge and tap over it and it will like take the excess off, okay? Listen, judgment-free zone. Not claiming to be a professional makeup artist here, just a makeup lover. But if you like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless contour wand, no, the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand, whatever it's called, I don't know. You'll actually really like this Danessa Myricks product because honestly, it really just reminds me like of the same thing. Let's move on to setting the face, and this product is the Laura Mercier, why did I say that so weird? Laura Mercier Under Eye Brightening Powder, which if you have been around my channel for quite some time, you're probably going, wait, why do you forget about that? You've raved about that for a really long time, and you are accurate. I actually really like this product. It's like a loose version of the Mcgrath Labs Under Eye Blurring Powder, and the only reason why you haven't been seeing it and it's in this video is because I need to move where it is in the collection, because even though I can see it, I keep looking at it thinking it's my travel size Laura Mercier translucent powder and not the under eye brightening powder, and then I just completely forget about it. So it's just on me for the way that I've got my makeup set up. Well, all my powders, but I actually really love this powder. It's a really good under eye powder. A little bit more hydrating than the Mcgrath Labs one, but very similar finish and like outcome. So if you need something that's just a touch more hydrating, you might like this, but don't get confused. It's not like overly hydrating. It's still quite, you know, matte, but just a little bit more than the Pat one. For the rest of my face, we're gonna take another Danessa Myricks product. Poor Danessa. This is the Evolution powder in the shade, I think I got shade 2. Yeah. I don't know, it's quite dry, this powder, is actually what it is. It reminds me of the the Oma Beauty Trip and Smooth, but even a little bit more mattifying. So I just kind of skip over it because if I'm not careful, it can actually, like in summertime, it's really good. It's like for my combo skin and when I get really oily, but when it's like colder or my skin's feeling a bit dry sometimes, it's just too much. So I just don't gravitate towards this one as much. It reminds me as well of the new Luna Beauty translucent powder as well. Like very similar formulas, those three powders. And I honestly don't think you would go wrong getting any of them. I think they're all really quite good, especially if you've got oily skin, you'll like these. Like the Oma Beauty Trip and Smooth, this one, and the Luna one. If you've got oily skin, you'll love them. I do not have any brow products that I forget I own because I really don't have, I have a very small brow collection on purpose. So I'm gonna quickly go off camera and do my brows and then we'll come back with the rest of the product. For bronzer, the one I just always glaze over and forget is this Ilia bronzer. Honestly, I just completely forget it's even in my collection. It never comes to mind to use and I don't know why. It's not a terrible bronzer. I'm gonna take it on my Pat bronzer brush, which honestly makes every bronzer look good, to be honest with you. It's a little bit, if you're not careful, you can go overboard with it, which I think I already proved with the Danessa Myricks product that I have a tendency to go overboard with bronzer. And it is smoothing. It's just a little bit too warm. It's just not quite the right tone for me and my preferences, like not my favorite tone. And yeah, just the fact that it can get really too much too quickly, it just makes me not want to, or just not even think to reach for it necessarily. Like it's not bad enough for me to declutter because it's still a lovely product. And I still like it, but just like out of my other ones, it's not like my fave because of those reasons. And so I just always forget to use it. But it is nice. Like look, it does look lovely on the skin. It has its moments and a time and a place. But I just think, yeah, compared to some of the other products I have, it's not as lovely jubbly, you know? Before I actually go in with any other cheek products, I'm gonna set my face with the Benefit Professional Setting Spray. I wouldn't say I necessarily forget this because I only own, not only, but I own 4 setting sprays. Lisa, Charlotte, Milk, and this one. But I do kind of forget this one because I love the other 3 a lot. And you know what? I actually really like this one. Again, it's a good one in summer when my skin's doing really oily and I just want to set the makeup but don't want to actually add any hydration or like extra oiliness or anything because the others are quite hydrating. But I don't know why, I keep it on my desk and I just always forget to use the bloody thing. It's just, yeah, I actually do forget to use this genuinely, even though I really like it as well. For cream highlight, it has to be this Tarte Maracuja Glow Stick. Juicy Glow Stick, is that what it's called? Maracuja Juicy Glow Stick. I got this because Angelica Nyquist like raves about it. So that's the swatch of it right here. And I wanted it for so long. And again, I picked it up when we went to America last year. And I just don't, I don't know. I don't love it. I think it's the packaging. So I put some on the back of my hand. I'm gonna pick it up with a sponge and see how I go. Because if I tap it on with the applicator directly, it lifts product. Oh, actually that looks quite nice. It lifts the product, and if I use my finger it seems to lift product. So let's see how this goes. That actually looks quite nice. There you go, that's the way I can use it. But because it's just always lifted my products and stuff, it's just like it's gone to the bottom of the drawer or the tub that I keep my liquid highlighters in, and I just never think about it or think to reach for it. And I think it does look pretty. It's just definitely nowhere near close to my fave, you know, so I just forget about it. Let's finish the eye. Oh no, wait, what are we doing? We're not finished with the cheeks. Let's just keep going with the cheeks, shall we? I always forget about this Mario highlighter too. I just do. And it's just, I don't know why. It's a beautiful highlight. Again, it probably isn't in like my top ones, but it's beautiful. It's very non-texturizing. It's very natural. Like, I mean, it looks blinding now. It will calm down, don't worry. But like, you can build it up, you can sheer it out. It's a lovely product, but it's just not as memorable for some reason as my other highlighters. So and it's like, I've got it kind of towards the back, even though I can see them all, I've got it towards the back, and it's just, I don't know, my eyes don't see it. They just don't. Before I do blush, let's finish the eyes. So I'm just gonna take this little Chikuhodo pencil brush, and I'm gonna take Bow from Vieve and run it underneath my eyes. You know, I do nothing crazy with the under eyes. I don't really forget any of my eyeliners, if I'm honest. I have them in my drawer. I don't have too many of them, mainly Victoria Beckham. But I will say I do forget to use this KVD Tattoo black liner a lot, so let's use this one. This one is Melt Olive, which I'm just bringing out because if you remember, I went through such a period on my channel where this was in every look, and I just absolutely love and adore this eyeliner. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I just thought for old time's sake, we'll bring it out. A mascara that I've broken my rule at the moment. Normally I only have 1 or 2 mascaras open at most, and I've got like 7. I've got 7 open, which is ridiculous. And I just always forget about this Surratt one because of it. So let's go ahead and use this. I like it. I like the wand. It's nice and small. It really gets into the lashes. I wouldn't say it's my all-time favorite mascara ever, but it's not a bad one by any means. And I really do like the wand, but it's not a tubing one. If this was a tubing mascara, I could see myself probably getting way more use out of this. But if I have a tubing mascara in my collection, that's going to be the first one that I use, just because I love how easy they come off at the end of the day. I will say this does make my lashes look really lovely, and if you have small eyes especially, you'll really like how small that wand is. So those eyes came out pretty well. What do you think? I like them. Nice. For cream blush, I don't even know if I've shown this on my channel before. I can't remember, but I've only used this like once, I think, and then it wasn't memorable enough for me to stick around using it, I think. I can't remember. This is the Rare Beauty Nearly Neutral Melting Blush. And the reason why, so you know I love the liquid pinch blushes, and this one's not terrible. It's just, it reminds me of like the Shiseido Air Whipped blushes back in the day, or the NARS Air Matte blushes. It's like that moussey kind of weird texture, so I don't find it super friendly to apply at the best of times. So let's try with this. This is a Rapha 37, and I'm just going to see how this goes, and if not, we'll revert to a sponge maybe. And I know quite a lot of people think that this formula is the best one out of Rare, but oh, actually that's applying it quite nicely. Yeah, okay, no, it's lifting, abort. Oh, it's lifted here. That's what I don't like about it. I mean, look, technically, yes, I'm aware you probably shouldn't put cream blush on over the top of powder, but all my others work lovely over the top of powder, so that's a requirement around here, okay? Lovely shade. It's just, yeah, it's just not my favorite formula, if I'm honest. I can definitely actually see myself decluttering that at some point soon. This is the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Magic Hour blush. I just forget I own this, literally. It's towards the back in the drawers. Even though I can see it, I just forget about it constantly. Pretty blush, but I just forget Do people still like M Cosmetics? I honestly haven't heard anything about the brand in such a long time. I used to be a big fan of them. What happened to them? They fell off. Anyway, that looks quite nice. For lips, I really don't have any lip products that I have forgotten I've owned, to be honest with you. They are laid out really well, and I have a large lipstick collection, but it's very accessible to me, and I know every single product, and so if it's not getting worn, it's not because I've forgotten about it, it's just because it's not the color that I'm looking for in the moment. And same with lip liners. I actually have a very small lip liner collection, and a relatively small gloss collection, so I don't really have any lip products I forget too much, but ones that I haven't used in a while, the Vieve lip liner in Bark, which the Vieve lip products are phenomenal. Like, they are really, really good quality products. And so we're going to take the Vieve lipstick in 90s. I'm just going to take the Victoria Beckham Bikini Gloss because I haven't used this in a little while on my channel. I think that's good. All right, let me figure out hair and jewelry. We'll zoom out and we will wrap this up. 2 seconds. Finished look. What do you guys think? They are all the products that I forget to use in my collection for one reason or another. I will say my skin is not looking crash hot because that primer and that foundation combination, even adding in the moisturizer, it's just, for me, it's too drying for my skin. That's just, you know, that's just me. I understand that both of those products are a lot of people's favorites. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you have any products in your collection that you just completely forget exist for one reason or another? And yeah, let's chat in the comments. I love chatting to you guys. And if you are watching till this point, you know you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time. Bye.